through to Kai Havertz, clips it over, room for number 7.
Hello, East-West viewers. It's another episode of East-West. I'm Philip Shaw from Dresden, Ontario, Canada, and I'm here with Dr. Enamal Haq from Dhaka, Bangladesh. And we got a little bit of a departure this week. No heavy geopolitics. We're going to talk about the World Cup, that world tournament that comes along in I think it's every 4 years. But forgive me, I'm from North America. You remember, I'm from Canada. And soccer is not very popular here. And so even though it's being hosted in Mexico, Canada, and the United States, there is a little bit of a learning curve for some of us, especially at my age. I'm 67 years old, who are not used to soccer as being real popular. However, it's not like I haven't played the game in my youth. It's just that other sports here in North America are much more popular. In hockey, or in Canada, it's hockey. I'm a big basketball fan and enjoy. We have football over here too, but it's completely different than football in the rest of the world. And so anyway, I must say that it's not quite what it is in the rest of the world. Maybe Dr. Haq could explain why that is, or how popular it is outside the world football is. But anyway, Canada, Mexico, and the United States are hosting it. And actually, the other day, Canada won its first World Cup game ever. And I think for the longest time, we didn't qualify, but we won our first World Cup game ever, 6-0 over Qatar. And so I think we play Switzerland next. And if we win or draw, we go on to the next round. Now, that's about all I know about the World Cup, but it is exciting for the whole world. And, it's interesting. I know Dr. Haq probably has lots to say. I look at a lot of things going on in Bangladesh, and there seems to be a lot of Brazilian and Argentinian fans there, and I don't know why. But he would probably have a good explanation for that. But it's fun for the whole world, and it's encompassing all of you as football fans around the world. And let's hope for a good tournament. I'll turn it over to Dr. Haq.
Thank you, Phil. I think this is a very fun month for everyone, at least in this part of the world. In Bangladesh, a large number of fans used to be Brazilian. Most of the time is due to Pelé. I think Pelé was one of the greatest football player. Everyone can notice that Phil is always saying soccer, and I will be always saying football because it's played with the foot. So we say it's football, and I don't know how it became soccer in Canada. Maybe you can explain later on, Phil.
Well, keep in mind it's hard to play on ice and snow in the middle of the winter time, and that's probably why we didn't play much. But
we didn't. Agreed. Now, Pelé was one of the biggest player, and so we had a big fan in Bangladesh with Pelé. But Argentinian fan all started with
Messi.
Maradona.
Maradona. Diego Maradona.
Yes, Diego Maradona in 1982, probably after the Falkland War. It was a game between England and Argentina. And as an underdog, everyone in this part of the world was always following Argentina because they lost the war with the British at that particular time, if you remember. So the fan moved into, and it was also because of the legendary player Maradona at that particular time, and so they won the World Cup in that year, if my memory goes well. So it was from then onward almost 50-50, half Brazilian, half Argentinian. So we have in our country, they say, well, I don't see any Bangladeshi, except probably in the cricket where you see a lot of Bangladeshi fans where we play. But in football, is always a fun game. One of the reasons is fun game. Everyone can play. It's easy to play. Everyone can play everywhere. So it's a game that does not really cost much. Probably that is the reason it's very popular in this part of the world. That does not mean but the worst part is this, that does not mean how much popular it is. We never, probably in South Asia, we didn't have a very great team. Even a country like India could not create a large, good team of football players in the world. Except the only exception that we had in Bangladesh was a woman football player. So they won Asian Cup at one point, and it was all possible, South Asian Cup, not Asian, because of the group of women from a remote hill area. They decided to play football. And it
Okay.
was a great team. So we had a good women football club. We did have a football club very much and we have a football league that runs every year in the country. But somehow we never produced good footballer. I think that's something that we always feel about it, that not only us, I'm talking about Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, all
Pakistan.
of these are good cricket player, but not good football player. And I don't have a good reason to know why they could not do it. So that's one thing that I could say.
Oh, I remember when I went to Bangladesh. I've been to Bangladesh many times, and the sport that I noticed was increasing popularity was cricket.
Yes, it's
Every time I went, there seemed to be people playing cricket almost everywhere. It didn't matter whether it's a rural village or it's in Dhaka, or there was people trying to play, or young men trying to play cricket. I never really noticed too many people playing soccer. And you say there's not too many players from South Asia, so that's the case. There's not a lot of soccer played in Bangladesh, or is there?
no, there are soccer. At least we all our stadiums were designed as soccer stadium, football stadium,
Okay.
not as
Okay.
a cricket stadium. Recently, we are turning some of the even football stadium into a cricket stadium because cricket has become so popular.
Yes. Yes.
But at the same time, we have leagues, different division league. We have leagues at the center. We have league within the district. So we had football as a part of the game everywhere, starting from the school. But as I said, like South Asians did not really create good football, except Iran, Iraq, some of the Middle Eastern
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah.
And in recently, it's Korea and Japan. So Japan, Korea had really created good football player, but not that South Asia has done it. So I'm always surprised with this. But at the same time, we are all fan for football. So we have people are glued to the football. Now realize that you are playing football in your daytime. In Bangladesh, it's midnight onward. So whole night people watch football. So you can see that how much craziness that people have for football. So people stay all night up
Yeah.
for football.
Yeah. I can remember being in Bangladesh and seeing cricket on the television. I don't remember as much soccer, but or football or soccer. Having said that, like Ghana, I think, tied a game the other day in Toronto, and the Ghana fans took over downtown Toronto, like a
Ah,
real enthusiasm all through Africa for some of the African teams. And like I say, I've always found it so strange. South America is a long ways from Bangladesh, and here you cheer for Brazil and Argentina. And I know you told me the historical significance of that, but you and I've talked many times about South America, and you always say, "Oh, you couldn't get any farther away than South America." So it seems so strange that there's such a big contingent of Brazilian and Argentinian fans in Bangladesh. But help this North American out. Like, who are the favorites to win the World Cup then? And traditionally, who has been always a favorite? Has it been European teams that are generally, and South American teams that are generally the favorites to win the World Cup?
this most of the time used to be South American versus European. That's the most of the favorite team. This year, I was watching most of the predictions is all cornered towards Europe. Spain is one of the favorite. England is also pretty good
Well,
team.
France would be a favorite too,
France
wouldn't
is
it?
also a very good team. They have Mbappe, which is very good player. England also have very good players. At the same time, I was watching yesterday or day before yesterday the game that the US team has played. That's also pretty good. I was impressed with their quality. They were playing against South Africa, if I remember well, and it was a good team. So that they played with, and also they were playing pretty good. I was impressed, honestly speaking. I never thought that US would play so well. And interestingly, the football stadium, that's even though you say it is not very popular, it's full of people. Unbelievable.
It
To
is.
me,
It
that's a
is.
big surprise. How about the Canadian football stadium? Were the people there?
Well, the one that you've seen recently against Qatar and you'll see against Switzerland is in Vancouver. And in Vancouver, it's a big stadium. The difference is in Toronto. I'm not sure if they're playing in Montreal or not, but the the stadium in Toronto is not very big. So that's a little bit too bad. The stadiums you see in the United States are big, what we
Big.
call football stadiums. I think even I've had you buy them back in the day when you used to go over to basketball with me in Detroit. We'd see some of the big football stadiums. But I mean, to say football or soccer is not popular now in North America is not really true. However, it does pale in comparison to other sports. And there's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of people visiting, and obviously the crowds are very big. I think one of the criticisms from a North American perspective of football or soccer through the years, the low scoring, right?
Yes, they have changed some
Low
of the games.
scoring.
I
It
like
has changed. It
they have
has
changed
changed.
some of this. I agree with it, but they have changed some of the rules this year. I saw that. I also was, and I think one of the shocking news that I got is Mexico is almost out of the game. So
Okay.
being one of the hosts, I think they're out of the game right now, which is very sad because Mexico had a good team.
Yeah.
Brazilian team this year, at least from what I have read, has not is not something that the people are looking for. In other words, they're not expecting it to go all the way. But I always like Brazil, for example. So my team is most of the time Brazil. Argentina is also one of the teams that most people like in Bangladesh. Even in my family, quite a lot of people. Right? But recently, what I see in Dhaka also, European Cup is very popular. So European
Okay.
Football Cup is played on sports channels, and the people subscribe to it. So that tells me that there is quite a lot of enthusiasm towards football. But my biggest surprise is that we didn't really bring or at least produce very good football. Having
Yeah.
said that, my other point is also that we in our South Asia particularly, we were the fan of cricket, as you said already, and we used to be a fan of Indian or Pakistani team, but now that Bangladeshi team is already
Yeah.
playing, it is a lot of Bangladeshi enthusiasm. It has created a huge business, I would say. So the economic impact of this soccer is quite well. I would also say that I don't know how it is in your country, but my country is also surpasses all the other what I say emotions. For example, because of the soccer happening, the enthusiasm for people to worry about the war is almost gone. The enthusiasm people to worry about any political issues are almost gone.
Yeah.
Everybody is for the soccer. So that's an
Yeah.
interesting way to manage the economy, I could say.
Well, it's a good thing, that's for sure. One thing I don't want to go away without saying is even though I'm not a big football or soccer fan and it's not as big in North America as other sports, the dynamism of the athletes is incredible though. Like they are so in shape. They are really in shape. The athletic achievement of these athletes to play the game at the level they do is just incredible. And that's one thing about football or soccer that you really have to be in shape to do it, and you really have to be at a high level. And so I do appreciate that. So, I mean, I guess the final is in July sometime too, right? So I
Final is
mean,
in July, I think, and middle of the July, almost second week of the July, that's the
yeah, so
final.
that that means we got about another month of this to go. So it should be great fun. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, I think the biggest game, people, if it happens, is there will be a game between Iran and US. If that happens, whatever at whatever stage it happens, it will look like a final.
Well, it probably would be. Are they in the right groups that might
They
happen?
are in the same group. So if you remember, the Iranian teams were not allowed to get in, but
Yes, I know.
the other day they played. So my own feeling is that this year the biggest game will happen if it happens between the US and Iran. The whole world will be glued to this and want to see what happens. So that's the game that I hope it happens. When I say I hope, in the second round, you never know. Depends on whose position is where. It's a knockout, game, and it depends on how it played. there is a possibility that Iran and US might play, and I think that will be, to me, the global, looks like it will be more what you call passionately watched game compared to
Yes,
many other games.
especially on the other side of the world. I imagine that would be
Exactly,
incredible.
exactly, exactly.
But anyway, it's a long road to the World Cup final, and we'll look forward to this. I have watched more World Cup soccer since you mentioned it the other day than I have my whole life,
I
and
remember watching World Cup when I was in Guelph, so to
I know that
remember
was a long time ago,
a
yeah, but
long
not,
time
there
ago.
wasn't many other people that watched it at that time around you. Certainly, it wasn't me. But like, I don't know. Like, there's always been a lot of enthusiasm for cricket in Bangladesh, and from a Canadian perspective, we just don't play that, like our other Commonwealth countries do. But with regard to the World Cup, yeah, it's got the world's attention.
Yes. Okay, so let's wait for the final, and we hope the team that we support play well. That's a very important thing for the game. And we also hope that this year, someone wins, and hopefully all the winners, winning a team and the runners-up will not come from Europe. But all the predictions are it will be all European game.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens then.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thanks for now. We'll talk soon.